Charts are looking, pretty sluggish, pretty heavy. They're looking, I'm not going to say that. That's an inappropriate joke. I was going to compare them to a celebrity. Doesn't look so good. Anyway, the way I see this is, once again, we have August and September, terrible months in the second half of the year before the halving, terrible time for Bitcoin. But what am I doing? I'm very excited to be cozying up to some of my sort of cycle picks. So over the coming months, weeks and months, depending on how long this dip lasts, I don't know how long it'll last, but I'm going to be averaging into the things that I think are going to really be hyper present this cycle. Now, that means some altcoins that you probably don't know about. Some of you, if you're really good, you'll know that there's a coin that I have covered many times on this channel, going back years from now. And it's actually become one of my favorites in the entire industry for this next cycle. I'll be doing a deeper dive into that entire sector and why I like that project in the very near future. A few other little updates. The IRS just put out this crazy tax reporting rule that would effectively treat any website that interacts with the blockchain as a broker, which would essentially place the need to KYC every single user of a website that touches MetaMask, that touches Uniswap, that touches potentially even Etherscan. It's a super vague piece of legislation, and it just sort of cements the fact that the current administration is going for the jugular on regulatory overreach. It's not even a question. And you're talking to someone who grew up a bleeding heart liberal. Like I was super liberal growing up. And I will say I'm not a conservative at this point because I just don't like party politics. I just really don't like both teams at all. However, I will say that if we do, it seems as though another 4 years of Biden would most likely be maybe the nail in the coffin for development of crypto in the United States. Like actually having a crypto development firm or being a crypto user in the United States would just be made so unbelievably impossible, right? So this is a huge election coming up for crypto, make no mistake. It's absolutely critical that crypto does not get in 4 years of the same. So this is a really big piece of news. But regardless, I just block out all the stuff and I focus on, where Bitcoin is going as an asset. Most likely up, we're seeing huge forecasts of as high as $150,000 per coin by 2025. That's from Dan Moorhead over at Pantera Capital. And again, I can't see Bitcoin resolving any other way but having a phenomenal 1.5 to 2 years after the halving. And so what I'm doing is I'm preparing and I'm getting ready for the altcoins that I think are going to be darlings for the next cycle. Obviously, you'll never know which one is going to be the ultimate darling. You always want to be very much so have a low ego in picking these. But I'm picking some projects that I think have just all the right fixins, and I'm excited to use this dip if we are so lucky to get another major collapse downward. I think really what people will do is end up forecasting way too low of price targets. If we go down and we start tickling through the low 20Ks, people will predict new all-time lows and probably as low as, 12K or 9K on Bitcoin. I just don't see that happening. Again, I'm accumulating slowly and steadily, so anything could happen. And I'll be prepared to buy at whatever levels do manifest. But I don't think that'll happen. I think you just don't want to get euphoric in these times and know that really a lot of smart money is coming into crypto in anticipation of this Bitcoin ETF. It does feel highly likely that Bitcoin will have an ETF probably in early 2024 or late 2023. And preparing for that moment is just a massive W for everyone. And then with it, you want to be, I personally will be preparing for the altcoins that are going to crush. There's a sector that's dominating the mainstream tech sector. And most of the projects that are related to that sector, and I'm speaking cryptically on purpose because I want you smart people to get ahead of this, most of the projects in this space that are related to the number one hottest tech sector in the world are complete shams, complete phonies, and have absolutely nothing going for them. I said most, not all. Anyway, I'm super excited for this next phase. I feel like the opportunity to spend just a few hours extra pushing yourself each day and completely transform your life. And I believe that the people who participate in this next run will see astronomical results. I honestly think it'll be a bigger run and a better run than the last cycle. I think it might be. I think it'll just draw in much more solid long-term capital. And I'm keep trying to evaluate where I think the assumptions being made by the majority of holders will be wrong. So I call this the head fake, the psych out. You always want to be aware when you're on one side of the issue and you can't see your own biases. And so I think that there's going to be some fake out, whether that means that Bitcoin runs well before the halving. Normally you have to wait until the year after the halving. Maybe Bitcoin will start running before the halving aggressively. That's never been really the case. That might be the fake out. I think the cycle might peak very early as well. It might not go like well into 2025. It might peak very early. And then the third option for a fake out that I've been considering is that we might not have as parabolic of a cycle, but it might go much, much longer, so that we'll have these slow grinds up and dumps, and then we'll get something that resembles the super cycle, or that meme that we've been hearing about. Either way, I think that it's a phenomenal time. Your risk for not participating in crypto right now is so much higher than your risk of what you could lose by participating in crypto. As we're wrestling with huge questions. You have to understand that each decision and each sort of action taken by the government against crypto, for crypto, around crypto, is making its way into the courts. And those courts are not operating with political biases the same way as, the people who are sitting in the chairs of political parties. And that means that oftentimes judges take a huge degree of, humility, respect, and they try to toe it to the letter of the law. And the letter of the law is certainly not anti-crypto. In fact, code is speech, and there's a lot of reasons to believe that crypto will be highly protected once it does make its way through the court system. And so we're at this moment before these things get fully settled, where there is a potential that you could be front running one of the biggest technological sort of regulatory changes in technology and finance in the history of all markets. And that's a beautiful, crazy, almost incomprehensibly large moment to be a part of. So yes, this could backfire on us. We could have egg on our face. But to me, the risk of losing the capital I have invested in crypto is much less significant than the risk of being left out of this massive paradigm shift. So that's the way I have my sort of mental priorities balanced. Again, I'm going to be doing my best to cover this industry and give you guys just raw truth as much as I can. When I see things that, as you've seen on my Twitter, there's a new app called FriendTech. I'm not saying I'm bringing this up because I've said some negative things about it on my Twitter, and I believe until proven otherwise, I'm not a real big fan of the way that the app is designed. And so I'll be doing my best to, even when I have negative opinions, speak those out, and hopefully the information I provide here helps somebody out there. As always, I'm Elio Trades. You know what to do. If you're excited for a bull market, Elio Trades, smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe, because we're going to be doing as many episodes as we humanly possibly can here. Even today, if it's just a handheld episode, giving you a piece of my mind. And make sure to watch this video popping up. I'll see you very soon on the next episode. And peace.